right, let me turn my volume up. Okay. Right now. Boom. Watch now on Twitch. And we pause. And let me put a quick announcement on in the Civitai server. We are live right now. FYI, I am just talking to myself at office hours. Guys, what is up? What is up? I'm going to open the chat so I can see. Cosmic, what is up, buddy? Give me just a second. I was having too much fun getting stuff ready with Kytra that I forgot to make my announcement. So let me just boom, boom, boom. We are live on Twitch talking to AI OG.
Ooh.
Kytra, who has also trained a lot of the how do I spell it? How do I never
HUN YUAN.
HUNY Hunyun.
Yes.
Video Laura's. Join us here. What is up, guys? What is up? What is up? You're hearing me thinking out loud in real time. And this is how most of my day usually goes. Let me just send this message. Boom. Okay. We are good. We are good. Holy cow. We hit the number of viewers I was waiting for just in that time period that I was doing that. So, guys, what is up? Welcome to a very special Civitai guest creator session. I say that every time because they're all special, because all these people are super talented and super just awesomely giving with their time and their knowledge when they do not have to be. This one in particular. My name is Tyler, as you all know, and today I am joined by my good friend who I think in terms of my AI lifespan, I might have known you the longest out of everybody, because when I started talking to you, I was trying to figure out what buttons to press in the Warp Fusion Google Collab notebook. But we're going to get there. Guys, this is Kytra. Kytra, to me, is one of the AI open source animation OGs. If there could be an open source AI animation OG, this where are you? This is one right here. So, Kytra, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, tell them who you are, what you do, and where your interests lie, and then we'll just start bouncing around.
Sure. Actually, I was also trying to figure out what buttons to press in Warp Fusion when we met. So it was a mutual effort. But hi, my name's Kytra Selka. My friends call me she, her. I've been around for quite a while. Warp Fusion is kind of the thing that I fell in love with. How long has this been now? 2 years ago? Has generative AI been around for 2 years?
Yeah, we are 2 years. We're getting old.
Yeah. Don't remind me. So Warp Fusion was kind of what I fell in love with. And I also kind of fell into, I guess, the role of this OG that J-Boog's talking about. I was so enthralled with Warp Fusion when it came out that I lost several nights of sleep for about 3 weeks straight because I had just been, I was 3-4 years into kind of like kickstarting my coding career, and I thought I can do anything, right? And I saw this Warp Fusion notebook show up. Is actually on Human Instrument, spelled with HUE, Human Instrument. It was actually on their YouTube page. I went to them on Discord and I said, "How in the hell did you make this?" And they sent me a link to the Patreon, which back in the day, version 0.7 was what we had for Warp Fusion. It's now like version 42 or something. But yeah, I went and found it, fell in love with it, spent 3 weeks losing all kinds of sleep, super stressed because it might have been the hardest thing to figure out that I've ever tried in coding. So we got through it, me and Tyler and a handful of other folks that are out there that that's what Tyler's referring to as the OGs, is we kind of found each other on Discord, started sharing kind of workflows and ideas. And before you knew it, we were all technically subject matter experts on Warp Fusion, and
what
everything kind
what a
of went
thing!
from there. Yeah,
What a thing to be a subject matter expert on.
in a random collab notebook that you have to pay $15 to get, you know?
And for those of you that don't know, we're not going to pull up Warp Fusion, but Warp Fusion was, to use it, it was a Google Collab notebook, which meant that it was essentially, how would you explain a Google Collab notebook to someone that never used one before?
It is basically another shell for running Python, or anything really. It's just a shell, but it also has a very basic UI. So it will read Markdown. So whatever you put into your code that's written in Markdown with certain designators, it will turn into kind of a seamless UI right there with all your code, and you can section them off and run different pieces at different times. So if anything, it's a glorified execution shell for code with the most
Well,
bare bones UI you can give it.
well, I actually have one of my Warp Fusion videos that was using the first batch of settings that you
Oh,
ever really kind of like shared with me. And this, I'm not going to play this with audio, guys, because I don't want you guys, I don't want the stream to get copyright struck, but just so you can get an idea of like the animation if you're not familiar with what Warp was. There was a different video in particular, Kytra. Unfortunately, Instagram took it down, but this one, I was able to get what I wanted out of this video because Kytra went back and forth with me, just like in the Warp Fusion Discord server, with knowing nothing about me, not having any prior history with me, and just me asking questions and being super intimidated by all the stuff I was reading from people because I barely even knew how to open up the Google Collab notebook at the time. But
and
these videos completely enthralled me. I was obsessed with this.
I mean,
Why?
this was the best control there was at the time. Yeah, there was nothing else offered long form video control. Um,
Why were we so obsessed with this?
for one, it just became it's like instant rotoscope, you know, like
Mhm.
you come from the video editing background, and I come from being lazy and not wanting to learn video editing. So like I think we both appreciated this whenever it fell into our laps as a doesn't require any pre-processing. Send in your video and you get rotoscoped. And the beauty of it was it didn't require that you had models trained or anything. Most of the time it was using very basic models initially, like the, you know, basic SD15. And uh, yeah, I think the what enthralled us was that it finally gave video a chance to breathe in generative AI, instead of having to string images together and hope for the best with, you know, whatever we had for control. I'm pretty sure it's just lowering denoise at the time, before control nets. And you know, that's at least whenever I stumbled on Warp Fusion, control nets were in their infancy. I mean, Illy had released them maybe 2 months into me
Mhm.
discovering Warp Fusion, and then Alex immediately got him in, and it just became even more enthralling because at that point it felt like anything was possible.
I think
And
I
there was no higher bar, right? Like this was it. Like this was as
Yeah,
high as the bar went. There was no consistency better than this, and so
it
yeah.
it like I I remember having so much fun because it felt like between picking, experimenting with the base checkpoint, and then also being able to mix all the Lauras in. And this was also at the time when I had just discovered Civitai, right? And I was
Yeah.
blown away once I kind of understood what I was looking at on Civitai, and I saw how it worked hand in hand with what we were doing in Warp. It was just it felt like there were infinite possibilities.
No, I agree. Civet was great. Like we all fell in love with it too because we had been trying to make these videos just on on the base SD 1.5, and then Laura's came out. There was people still used licorice and all that all the time. That's what I called it, at least licorice, and there was even one called Loha and stuff. Like there were several different versions. Those started coming out, and Civet at the time was the only place you could find them.
But even more exciting. So that was the Warp Fusion era, and that was a very, I think, for a lot of us, defining era in AI video creation. And it's really cool to see that a lot of us who were obsessed with Warp and staying up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to do it and try to nail our settings, because the settings were, God knows the settings were different for every video.
Mhm.
Um, it a lot of us that were doing it hardcore back then are still doing stuff and are still in making stuff that people want to watch, which I think is really cool, that it's all kind of bled from whatever the thing is to the next thing. But a lot of people don't know that you were one of the first people to have like an animate diff implementation that you made. So let's talk about that for a minute, because I was obsessed with this thing and not a lot of people know about this.
Yeah. It was before Comfy UI had really taken off too. They actually happened pretty simultaneous. Comfy UI had been out for a little bit, but it hadn't been widely adopted yet because none of us wanted to learn how to string nodes together. None of us wanted to get dirty in the spaghetti. And so we continued to do what was comfortable and familiar. And then this paper came out talking about animate diff, which seemed to provide this extra layer of consistency. All of a sudden, it was like, wait, we've got like there's still some movement and stuff like that, but it was no longer this. It no longer felt frantic from frame to frame, which Warp Fusion, even with the best of the control back then that you could provide it, still had some interesting inconsistencies. And Warp Fusion also didn't do text to video, and so this was also kind of like where this is also an interesting point. Uh, where text to video, you could just type anything in. You didn't even need a conditioning video to go in. You didn't need an
Mm-mm.
init vid. And but the animate diff paper came out. I used all the knowledge that I had from learning how to use Google Colab, and I was like, I'm going to put this in a notebook. I was like, I already know how to do all the Google Colab stuff. We got it going, and I decided to at the time stand up a Patreon. Please don't go give me any money. I haven't supported the notebook in ages, because very immediately within a month of me releasing the notebook, Comfy UI adoption had like really skyrocketed, and so we had some people who could spend more time with it, some people who understood some of the math a little bit more than I did, like Kosen. Kosen came in and made the original, or he made the first real customizable implementation. There's actually another one. What was their name? Art Adventure X or something? I forget their name. It was like Adventure X or Art Adventure X. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name and you're in the chat, but that was technically the first implementation of the nodes in Comfy UI, but Kosen came along and super duper refined it, gave us the context window. And honestly, the rest was history. Like everything's just been, it's felt like we got strapped to a rocket and that thing has not run out of fuel.
So, literally, it's so much so that where at least before, when one of these new creation tools would come out, it felt like we had a couple months to really sit with it. Now it almost feels like we barely have like 2 weeks to sit with anything new that comes out before the next thing comes out.
Yeah, if even. I mean, sometimes you get three of them dropped on you at once. It's like, oh, everyone decided to release a video model this weekend.
But what was it about the way that you wrote the implementation for this thing when you did that, like, produce these outputs that I feel like are really different from animate diff outputs that we get from Comfy?
Yeah, so what made my notebook really unique, and I can't take full credit, I did find the code in a different repo where someone had attempted to create uh, basically the context window and make it loop. And it was just an implementation on GitHub that had nothing else further than just this random piece of code that I spent the weekend integrating it into my notebook. and it gave us the opportunity to actually loop these videos. And so that was kind of the first implementation of the like fully looping context window. I can't say
Gotcha.
who did it first. I feel like there's a lot of us doing stuff in parallel because Animate Diff, the Animate Diff paper came out. We all saw it and uh, wanted to know how to get involved and what was next. So
Gotcha. Well, I look back at these videos very fondly because I feel like the outputs were so different from just like everything else. And I feel really fortunate that I was able to make stuff with it when it was still around. Cause I still enjoy looking at these. Like to
yeah,
me, this is dope.
yeah, they're very unique still. I mean, it definitely feels like sitting on the couch and turning on the Super Nintendo for a play session or something, coming back to the vintage era of generative AI, and it's only been 2 years.
But I can tell you that because I'm looking at kind of like my visual timeline here, I can tell you what I remember skyrocketing the comfy usage was the release of SDXL, which happened shortly
Mhm.
after you made the Animate Diff implementation.
Yep.
Because
And control nets, Cosen's version of diff in comfy allowed for control nets too. I think it took maybe a month for that to really take hold.
but also too, I want to call out because these are some of Kytra's warp videos.
Yep.
Kytra was so good at finding the consistency that we we were all kind of always hunting for with warp, because warp was always so frantic and got so trippy that we were looking for consistency, whereas now I almost feel like everything is so consistent that we're looking for the trippiness again.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to put the surreal back in it, you know, depending on what you're working with. And again, people keep giving me credit for this. Pro tip, if someone comes to you and they're like, "Hey, I got questions for you," and they're willing to show you samples of what they've tried, that's what really got me super addicted to talking to everyone on the Discord. Uh, I wouldn't know half this stuff if it wasn't for people like Tyler, Permagrin, Syntax Diffusion. I could say her name 100 people, but everyone was coming to me for answers, and what I was getting out of it was that they would hand me samples. They'd hand me a settings and a sample, and I was getting to see now, well, okay, well, that's what those settings do. So basically I was getting force-fed lightning speed a bunch of different examples, and so it really helped me narrow down, well, I've seen what a handful of people are doing and it didn't work. I've seen a few things that look promising. I'm going to go this direction with my tests, and that's kind of how we landed on these settings. Is very much a collective group effort.
And I think that's probably the benefit of having that developer brain.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I won't say I wasn't addicted to the attention, because I mean my DMs were blowing up. It was so fun too. I can't tell you how many times I had to open DeepL or Google Translate to talk to someone who's like, in Brazil, doesn't speak English, but they've seen it, and they want to get involved, and they keep seeing my name on the Discord, and so they send me just a massive chunk of Spanish, it's Italian, like I had to throw all kinds of stuff into DeepL sometimes to communicate, and I just found it enthralling. I don't quite have the same amount of time I had then anymore, but um, yeah, it was something I want to give
well,
credit back to everyone else too in this case, because it really wouldn't have happened without everyone being willing to ask the question, and send me a
well,
workflow.
guys, I put Kytra's Instagram link in the chat. Do yourselves a favor, go ahead, follow her on Insta. I know that this year she has made a resolution to post more and actually be more active on social, because I know that as much as you love tinkering and as much as you love the back end of everything, I know you miss making the art.
For sure, for sure. And some of these are very low effort. I'll tell you, the ones with the goat, the panther, all that stuff. That's Runway ML. So that's about the least effort thing you can do, is throw a video at Runway and tell it to change it. There's a few in here that are a little more creative. This is also Runway. Just a little trapdoor spider. Um, but those are a blast because they're easy to just throw 10 of them at the at runway and get it to do the thing. These were flux generations passed into runway, so these are image to video instead of vid to vid. This one in particular.
Well, what I really want to begin talking about with you here, and we're gonna switch over to before we come to that page. Let me go ahead and give them your Civitai profile so they can find you on Civitai and follow you there as well.
Sure.
You DM'd me on Discord and said, "Hey, can we get a Hunyan Video Laura category on Civitai because I have video Lauras to upload?" And I immediately was like, "Give me a minute." And I DM'd Justin and was like, "Hey, did you know people are making video Lauras for this Hunyan thing?" And he was like, "I'll get that added." And within the hour, there was a category for the video Lauras. So shout out to Justin and the dev team for always being super nimble with that.
Yeah, thank you. And
But
I can't take credit for being the first Hunyan Laura trained, but it pays to know people, and so I can take credit for being the first one to put one on Civit. So
she had the first Hunyan video Laura on Civit, and that
this is
is a
it.
claim to fame.
You're
This
looking
was
at it actually.
this was the
Is
first
either
one?
this one or Makima? Either one.
Wait, let's go.
I can't remember actually.
Wait, let me make sure. Okay, we're only at PG-13. That is very good.
Yeah, I think it might be Makima. Makima came first. I knew one of
Models.
the anime I did was the first.
This one.
This one here. Yeah. So this is on this topic. This is actually fairly easy to do. There's a few options now on training things. I used the original Git repo called diffusion pipe, which I believe I might be talking out of my ass here because this is definitely something I feel like a little bird told me and not something I have concrete evidence on. I believe that same dev that made this original trainer is part of working on getting it in diffusers natively, if I'm not mistaken. But diffusion pipe is the name of the trainer. Let me. Yeah, no.
Yeah, let's.
I don't want to take a chance on something in SFW popping up because I definitely don't have Civit turned on SFW at the moment. So
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I won't take the chance. But yes, diffusion pipe. You can go type in Hunyan diffusion pipe GitHub, and you'll find the one that I used. But it's actually pretty easy, and it's not too GPU intensive to get one trained either. I can't do it locally. I haven't personally trained one on 24 gigs or less, but the community has been working toward this for quite a while now. I've actually had to step away from training a lot of these here in the last few weeks, just due to work and stuff. But the community is doing all kinds of work here, trying to make training these things easier. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there's comfy nodes coming in the future or something for training.
So for people that don't know, why I can't think of anyone better to explain what Hunyan is and why people should care.
Sure. Technically, Hunyan started as a image model. There's like the Hunyan, I think it was just called one, like Hunyan-1 or something. But it was just an image model. It produced a single image. So it's kind of like it came out around the same time as Flux. And I think Flux kind of took the spotlight and ran with it. And so not a lot of people did too much with it. Civit does have LoRa's. So you can go find models and LoRa's for just the image version of Hunyan. But basically, there is now a video model ecosystem around this, and there's even promise to some degree that an image to video version, like a true one from the Hunyan team, is coming in the near future. They said early 2025. So. But basically, this is now just a video model ecosystem, text to video. You can even do vid to vid at the moment, but we don't have a true image to vid like most people are used to using in something like Kling or Luma or Runway. It also this is kind of like, it came out a little bit after Cog Video X, but it's one of the first ones that had like a really high resolution allowed and also a high frame count. So Cog Video X actually provides more control over the video and allows you to do more things, but Hunyan gives you this real good quality. It's super I'll call it elastic. You can ask it for pretty much any resolution, any amount of frames. There's even like a context window for it now. But yeah, you can get really good quality out of this. The beauty of it is it's dirt simple to train from a data set perspective. What you're seeing here, believe it or not, this Super Saiyan model is trained completely on GIFs that I screen capped with another GIF screen cap recorder from Tenor. So I literally typed in Super Saiyan in Tenor in Discord, right? So, or Giphy or whatever Discord uses, and it pulled up a handful of like just GIFs for, yeah, I say GIFs. I'm sorry, any of you I'm offending. It pulls up GIFs, and I literally just screen capped them for my data set, so that the beauty of it is you can give it low res data set, and so long as, like in this case, it's like a concept. I'm not asking it for a particular character. I just want people going Super Saiyan. It'll oblige. It'll give you quality back out of it, even though I don't think any of the videos in my data set were larger than 512 by 384.
So in terms of like difficulty scale, if someone wanted to get into this, where on that scale would you put this in terms of like other open source things? Like how difficult is it to kind of get everything running and to train a LoRa if that's what they want to do?
To train it, I would say definitely it will explore some of the newer stuff that's out for training it. I know the diffusion pipe repo is still one; it still works. I still make a success out of it, but I know that if it's not already native in diffusers at the moment, it's coming. There's probably going to be a little bit easier barrier of entry on training it as far as setting it up goes. I needed at least 48 gigs of VRAM to train initially with the first implementation of diffusion dash pipe. You may be able to get away with it under 24 gigabytes now. I'd have to go look. There's I don't know. There's a handful of discords. The one that I tend to go to for info is Bandadoko, and they've got a handful of channels based around training this thing, and you can see a bunch of like newer implementations of training that will get you there much faster. But it really wasn't that bad. I just commissioned a 48 gigabyte GPU on RunPod. I did a git clone and pulled it down, and then I literally followed the README to a T outside of one value that I changed in the deep speed configuration. But it's literally all there. The README was so thoroughly put together that it was a breeze. I didn't have to ask or want for anything in getting it set up. It super smooth.
So
From an inference perspective, I don't think anything's easier, actually. There's been a lot of work on the inference side of things for the company nodes, and it's actually natively supported now. I still use the Kajai Hunyan video wrappers myself.
I mean, the comfy node setup you have shown in the screenshot right here look pretty simple.
It's super simple. I'll actually go ahead and stream my screen here
Awesome.
to show the current one that I've got set up.
Let me turn screen off. Boom. And we're going to. Did that maximize for you? Did you see that? Do you guys see that maximize on the full screen? Is Kytra's window maximized for you guys, or am I only seeing that maximize on my end? Let me know, chat. Let me know. Yeah. Okay.
Get in the comments.
Cool. So your window is maximized right now.
Yeah, let me know if it's not all fit in there, but this is as simple as it is. I'll bust this one open. This is our negative prompt, which actually has its own CFG value, and there is the download Hunyan video text encoder. This will actually
wait, Kytra. The text is mirrored.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. I think
is that a thing I can swap?
I don't know. I think it's actually just the way your screen is share ing.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Uh,
Video. There it is. Boom. Did
boom,
that fix it?
boom. Yep. Look,
Got it.
look at that, guys. That's that
On the
developer
fly.
brain. That's that developer brain I'm talking about.
You killed me, J-Book. Okay, so this is as easy as this is. Most things are auto downloaded. Thank you, Kajai, for always putting in the work on that. These text encoders will auto download just using this workflow on its own. The only thing I went and downloaded directly was the Hunyan video model, which you can find. There is an FP8 quantized version that's available on, I think, Kajai's Hugging Face as well. And I'm sure someone's put it on Civet at this point. But that's the only model I technically had to download to get it going. I saw someone in the chat a second ago had asked, do you need a LoRa? No, actually, you don't need a LoRa. But if you want to pull up like kind of like in this case, this is technically copyrighted IP. And as far as using a character that I don't own the rights to, you can bring in a LoRa for that purpose. But because Hunyan natively doesn't really know a lot of these characters. You'll have to go really popular, like Goku or something, to even get close. So Hunyan will do just about anything wholesale out of the box without a LoRa. But in this case, the LoRa is really what you need to get things going. But here's where the models are loaded. It's this path here. Here's the text encoders. Here's where the actual prompt is placed in here. Just this one right here. I've got it set it as charging in a battle with an AK-47. I didn't describe the background, so naturally it's going to give it to me on kind of like a simple background. Hunyan is one that if you can, for the LoRas that I train, I do pretty sparse captioning when I train the LoRa because it's working off clip L inherently. So I won't do anything super verbose in my captioning for the character, my captioning for the concepts. Those will actually be this very same kind of like what I call comma separated keyword attribute kind of things, like blue hair, simple background, maid outfit. So very simple. But if you really want Hunyan to pop, be descriptive about everything else. So we'll even do this. We'll say on a deserted battlefield. I don't want to get too grotesque here because she is holding an AK-47. Let's do trees, foliage, that sort of thing. Sunset. We'll even make it sunset. I'll go ahead and cue that up, send it off. But
because this video model does NSFW right out of the box, right?
in a way. There is a bit of it that's like semi-nerfed, but there is still a lot of NSFW you can pull out. You can get going with it. I've explicitly asked not for no NSFW in this one, because for one, while the character at the end of the show is 18 years old, she starts as 17, so let's not go there.
Let's not
And
go there. Please,
yep.
let's not go there.
And then also we're just on stream, so no NSFW. But yes, it absolutely does. So yeah, I'm gonna open this
And then
one more
just
time.
because
This is
everyone
the
because
negative
everyone
one.
always likes to know for this particular workflow you're using, even though I know that there's people have since come out with like lower VRAM eating Hunyan workflows and stuff. How much VRAM roughly is this taking up right now for you to run this?
I can't directly look at this because this is running in the cloud at the moment, but
Gotcha.
it's usually if I'm running, it all depends on the resolution that you choose here, right? The resolution that you pick. But usually it might run 20 to 21 if I'm running like 960 by 544, but that's again, I'm still using this original implementation of the Hunyan video wrapper from Kijai. I think there's even been upgrades to this since. I think you can get away with it at like 12 gigabytes VRAM at the moment, at probably something around 768 by 512 and maybe even higher, 96544.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, it
That
should be
wow.
it should be accessible, quite accessible.
Yeah, that output is pretty spot
Yeah, see now
on.
we've got she's charging. Now I did actually set it to a pretty low number of frames. So it is a video. I don't know if you can see it, the noise moving, but in this case, it didn't give me much to go off of because one, I've got the Laura strength up fairly high. I can back off of it a little bit and probably get a little bit more motion because the data set that went into training Ren was almost exclusively images. Uh, Another thing, that's the beauty of Hunyan. You can train on both or either or. You can train on just images and you can still apply that LoRa to a video model and get the character to move. You can train on just video, which is what you saw with the Super Saiyan concept a second ago. Or you can put both in the same data set and it doesn't care. It'll train both image and video at the same time. And the more data that you have of your character or whatever, whoever it is you want to train, obviously the better.
I remember, I think it was you that said this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, so I'm not putting wrong information out there. But did you say that you can train, like you can, for if it's a character video lore you want, you can gather up images of the character, and then the video doesn't even necessarily have to be the character because the video is only being referenced for the motion?
Correct. So one of the things that this is one of those pro tips. Vigil in this case is your best friend. One, it's free enough that you can at least make one data set a day off of Vigil if you wanted to, possibly two, depending on how many videos you want. But what Tyler was saying, the videos that you provide, what you're wanting to do is you want at least one or two videos, in my opinion, in the data set, because you don't want it to overtrain on the idea of no motion at all. You do want it to retain some idea of how pixels move. And so what I've been doing is just taking one of my images from my data set, throwing it in Vigil, and I have like one or two videos that I've downloaded from people dancing on Instagram that are about 12 seconds long, and I'll have Vigil make me a 12-second video, and then I'll break that out into like 4 3-second clips and include them in the data set.
And for just for people that don't know, where Vigil fits into all this is because Vigil is a video platform where you give it your base video, you give it a image of a character, and then it tries its best to put that exact image or exact likeness of the character on the person in that video. So Kytra is using Vigil to make these really short, moving videos with the character she's training the lore on.
Yes, if I can't find a better quality video somewhere else and it simply just doesn't exist, for instance, if I go to Procreate and just draw up a character, um, I now need video of that character, and you can go straight to Vigil with your drawing. And in my opinion, all you're really trying to provide is some videos where the pixels are in vague resemblance of the character and move. Beyond that, the best quality images you can provide will give you a little bit better fidelity in the end. It's not too picky, but I have noticed that if you don't have an image in your data set that's at least representative, like a larger resolution, 1024 on one side, uh, it's probably going to give you slightly low fidelity outputs regardless of the resolution you really choose in Hunyan, especially if the character or the concept doesn't really exist anywhere else in the real world up to that point. So if it's truly is just a completely bespoke character, then yeah, you'll definitely want at least one really solid image where it's at least 1024 on one edge.
And just to pause real quick, just to shout someone out, if you guys are interested in more of kind of like what Vigil does, because you're now the one of a very small handful of people that I know that don't use Vigil to actually like make what the final thing is, but it's a part of the process for you to get to what the final thing is, while you're using it more in like a utility type sense. If you guys all know Enigmatic E, we all know Enigmatic E, we all love Enigmatic E. If you want to see some really great use cases for Vigil, outside on the flip side of what Kytra is using it for, go check out E's page and watch some of his behind the scenes videos, because he uses Viggle a lot to create the character image on himself before he runs things through Anime Diff to make the diff output all that much better. So it kind of same idea.
Yeah. No, it's really handy. Like it's honestly like a Swiss Army knife in that case. You can use it as like, inputs you want to refine into a final output, or build a data set off of it. And yeah, crazy that it's still free for the most part.
So we had a question here.
Yeah.
Where can you find a sample data set? Can they see a sample data set just so they have an example of like what you would curate to make one of these LoRa's?
Sure. Yeah, give me just 1 second, because I want to make sure that I don't actually show anything in SFW. So I'm going to kill this camera for a second. It'll just be a K. And yeah, give me about a minute and a half, and I'll pull up a data set.
No worries. So, guys, I hope you guys are taking notes. Of course, you'll be able to go back and watch this back. I'm learning a bunch too, because I personally haven't really messed with Hunyan all that much since it came out, but I've been having a lot of fun watching all of the crazy things that people are doing with it. Kytra, have you messed with what was it, LTX at all?
I have played with it, and there's been a lot that's happened to it since. The quality seems to be a lot better on some of the outputs that I'm seeing than initially when it launched. It's lightning fast. Right? It literally produces frames faster than you can consume them. So technically, it's faster than real-time inference in that case. But it suffered from no context window originally, and the initial implementations of the context window still had pretty hard shifts in in the different, like where the seam between the two windows. So I haven't played with it lately, but I know that there's been a lot that people are doing with it. I actually want to revisit it because the speed was unreal.
And I've heard through the grapevine, and chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that LTX really shines more so in the image to video category than in the text to video category. Is that accurate, guys? Has that been the experience for all of you, that like for image to video it really comes through, but the text to video not so much? And even Cosmic Crafter here said that his entire submission for Project Odyssey was made with LTX, which is super cool.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so Drake, I'm just gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry. I have my brain can't put this together, but the same person who asked if we can see the one of your data sets, you just simply said that data sets are the hardest part of all ML and AI subjects, because you can spend all the time gathering a data set, and if the data set's not good, then
yeah,
you're back
garbage in, garbage out, so to speak.
Exactly. Dre, okay, Dre, I can say. Erotaku is suggesting we call you Dr. Dre. I think that might just be your name now on the stream. But I think it's really great that there are all these open source video implementations coming in that hopefully can sooner rather than later really catch up to what the paid tools have been doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because God, some of these things are expensive, man. They're expensive.
All right, I think we're back.
We're back.
Here's an example of, this is a data set that I put together that is, I don't think I put any video in here. I think it's just images. So this is a data set that I put together, a character that I had made called Himari. So I made a 3D model, and then I staged the model in different positions. But this is a character I named Himari. It's actually available on it's on Banadoko. I shared it on Banadoko, but I can put this up on Civet later if people want to take a look at it. But here's a handful of the poses. I just wanted like a decent depiction of the character in a few positions. There's no backgrounds in any of the images. And here's an example of how things are captioned. So here's one with her hand in front of her face, somewhat of a surprised expression. And this is the caption from the data set is KXSR, which is my trigger word, surprise expression, close up, cropped, hand on forehead, facing viewer, simple white background. I mean, that's all it took. And I think the real fun will be in like trying to find uh, like what the best settings are for you on like a learning rate type thing, depending on the data that you've got. Let me go ahead and show this one too. This is for the people that haven't seen Vigil. This is what it looks like. I made another character. It's a character I made called Suzume. They're not public. They're kind of a personal character of mine that I'm using for like AI music video type stuff. But this is, I took a video of someone dancing in front of a green screen, and I provided Vigil with one static image, which looks almost identical to these poses because I made them in the same program. Um, but I had taken one full body, probably something like this. I don't know if this is big enough to see, but something like this one here, some A pose, T pose kind of thing, and then throw this at Vigil and give it a video, and then you get something like this. This is perfect for making a moving version of the character where I had none previous. Because while I can pose things in 3D, I'm not an animator. So this is getting me past that hurdle. And again, I'm pretty sure you can do 15 generations a day or 10 generations a day for free. I haven't checked into it in the last a week or so. These things change sometimes, so don't hate me if it's only like 3 now or something. But
So
they've
so you would make one, or you would use maybe like two different movement videos like that along with the data set you just showed us.
correct. This one happens to be on green screen. I actually found better luck if you want your character to exist in the real world, find one or two. Here's the beauty of it. Okay, this is Adobe doesn't want you to know this. You can go to Adobe, you can go to Adobe stock videos, and it doesn't matter if there's a big fat watermark over that video that Adobe stock photos has. Download it. If it's someone jogging and they've got the words Adobe across them, who cares? Vigil doesn't. And so it will literally give me back. I can ask for my character to be on the original background, or I can ask for the character to be on white. And so you can have someone who's running, you can get the animation that you need just off of any person in a stock video. You can get the movement that you want. And then if you're okay with just training with the background, because your character won't have the watermark, but they'll still be behind them in the scene or whatever. Or you can just ask for the character on white. Vigil will give it back to you where everything's alphaed out, and then you can put your own background in it. If you have like parallax, I had a handful of pixel art parallax stuff where I'd put kind of like at the same pace as the character running, and just create the illusion. But anything like if you don't have a video of someone flipping a pancake in a skillet, go find one on Adobe stock photos, grab it, throw it in Vigil, and you're good to go. Like it'll put your character there flipping the pancakes. It's crazy.
One trick Adobe doesn't want you to know.
Yeah, they don't.
Don't say that name too many times. It's like
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, a PDF might pop up. Or record yourself flipping a pancake in a skillet. That works
Yeah.
too, but sometimes setting up the camera is just too much work, bro. We don't want to always have to set up the camera. But someone asked, is there a free dance maker where you can put in your character, or could I just use Comfy or Automatic 1111? I'm not too sure what you mean by free dance maker. If you're referring to just like a puppet of a character doing movements, you guys can also, if you're looking for movement things and you don't want to find a video, you can also go on something like Mixamo, where they have all the preset settings of the 3D models, and just download videos of those things. They have all kinds of 3D models doing all kinds of movements that you could then throw into something like Vigil and put the character on.
And honestly, There's nothing that says you can't go to Civit AI and find someone who's thrown something in Kling and then put it on Civit, where it's moving. Or Civit has video generators now, so there's nothing that says you can't just go throw your character into something you saw on Civit either. Vigil will do it.
So, do you think, based on your like experience and your usage with Hunyan, do you think this is something that people are going to keep investing time into, that is going to continue to grow, or do you think there's like a limited lifespan for it?
I guess it depends on what we get for other things that perform slightly better, in the sense, like, for instance, there's nothing really open source that's quite on the same level as what Sora will give you. There's nothing in open source that is quite on the same level of the new Google VO2, but we can't get our hands on that. And until something else falls into place that has any modicum of control at all, I think this is going to continue to be, one of the top contenders, especially when they finally release the image to video version that they've been talking about. I mean, at that point, imagine, having you, for instance, we haven't really touched on this very much. You can train either a character or a concept. If you've looked at the Hunyan Laura page on Civit, I mean, there's a million and one concepts that people are training too. So, like, for mine, I have one where everyone's walking. It's like a walking animation. And that was just trained on a bunch of different videos of people walking. But it's given me now this motion, basically this LoRa that I attach to it, which looks seemingly like a regular LoRa, but technically it's a motion LoRa, in my opinion, because it's going to coerce whatever you ask to be in the image to walk. I've seen people do it on dogs, frogs, everything at this point. You can see I did everything from Shrek to just standard anime on my Civit page. So
Dude,
concepts are not off the books either. Like, whatever you can dream of. Like the Super Saiyan thing blew me away. But I was able to pull that off with I think it's just 8 videos. Like, 8 videos. None of them are longer than 4 seconds.
this is
Like,
super cool. I haven't really browsed the Hunyan video Laura page, but this is super cool.
which one are you seeing?
The unleash your
Oh,
inner
yeah, yeah.
venom.
Yeah, that's so sick. It'll do it to anybody too. So Donald Duck. Yeah, no, I love this. Like, this is really what sets it apart, in my opinion, is the thing. It seems to have absolutely zero limits on what you can train it into it, and the amount of information you need to give it is so close to zero, it's unreal. Um, yeah, there's so many good ones actually that are out there.
I have my thing set to PG-13. I hope that
Yeah,
that is that
it
is
is.
that is all
If you go
good.
here with your NSFW filter off,
Yeah, no, but
Gambate Kudasai.
even
Good
holy
luck.
holy cow, that's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. Terrifying.
Let's
Is
see what
this a
other
pixel version? We have a new
it,
pixel one.
yeah, this is a
This
pixel
looks new.
style. January 15th, only uploaded 2 days ago. So I will drop this in the chat for you guys.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. I want to play with that. There's been a few of these that have been attempted so far, but none of them quite had a diverse enough data set to really put pixels on anything. They kind of like had, characters and stuff that they would bring uh, into the video.
John Wick.
Yeah.
So okay, I didn't realize yeah, I gotta be paying more attention to open source. Apparently, I didn't realize um how big this community was getting, because while I do see a lot of the same names repeated, um this is a lot for something that feels relatively new. Because how long does it take to train one of the Lauras once you have your data set?
It's actually really fast. I think in particular, the REM LoRa's, the Makima LoRa's, those are some of my first, and I actually let them go longer than I think I would train one now. Somewhere around 200 to 300 steps is usually enough to get it done. And I would say realistically, that's like if you've already got everything set up now, this isn't including setting up the environment and getting it to go. If everything's ready to go and you hit enter and it starts to train, you're in for maybe 18 minutes, 18 to 25 minutes.
So sick.
Very
Well,
fast.
whoa. We almost got there, but I am
Yeah,
fast. I am fast. I'm super fast.
this is this is really putting the Civet NSFW bot on blast right now.
Yes, literally. But no, this is super cool. Someone made a Funko Pop one.
That's interesting.
Well, we're gonna get
Yeah.
out of there just for
What's
safety.
crazy is there's so many of them now that they're like half of these don't even have samples. Like half of these don't even have a sample, right? So
Yeah, no, these are
like
these are super cool.
if you scroll down on half of these, the only person who's made anything is usually the person who uploaded it. So there's so
Which
much to explore in this space right now.
exactly, which I was just about to say, it goes to show you how new this is. And so Cosmic shared this from To the Curve, who shout out to him. He's actually in the chat right now. Um, they said that this is a super easy uh workflow. Load an image. They have Florence 2 describing the photo. Hunyan Video animates it. All needed files provided in the workflow.
Sick.
I went ahead and shared that link for you guys in the chat. Make sure you go ahead and give To the Curve a follow on Civet. Always love people that release stuff like this. The workflow does not look super intense whatsoever. And
That's the beauty of this too, is like to get quality out of it requires practically just a dozen nodes, if that, kind of wild.
all right. Well, Kytra, where do you're able to have a little bit more of an interesting perspective of everything, because you are not only on the creation side of things, but you are also on the back end coding development side of things. Um, do you think for the next year or two we're going to continue to see kind of like the same exponential growth we've been seeing for the foreseeable future, or do you think
I,
things slow down at some point from where we are
I
right now?
think I think the only thing standing in the way of the open source community seeing that exponential growth is capitalism. So it just it depends on how many people start putting it behind a paywall. And uh, like I keep saying that Vigil is free to an extent, right? They're a company, they have to pay the bills. So that like they give you a handful of times to use it. And then obviously if you want to use it more in a day, you can pay for that. But there's so many things we're seeing now that you don't even get samples anymore. And I don't I don't want to put Luma AI on too much blast here, but it was super discouraging as because I came from the open source world. I happened to just get lucky in the fact that it turned into a career for me. But I came from the open source world where I was penny pinching myself, going how do I make stuff on a budget? And companies like Luma AI initially when I went there, they tell you get 15 generations a day, but after the third generation that you make in a day, you start getting into this super long queue. It was just it immediately deflating to see that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that in this case, there's a lot to prove. Actually, I think one of the double-edged swords for people like OpenAI and uh, that are really putting paywall, like huge paywalls, $200 a month for Sora. Like I don't want to do that. So
It
like
hurts me. It hurts me. I know it hurts.
yeah, I see every time I see the number, because I multiply it by 12, it's what's going to cost you for a year. Gross, right? So I think that it's actually a double-edged sword for them. Like right now, they're making money hand over fist, but it's making it so that all these labs actually just they have so much to prove because they want, like everyone wants to beat Sora. And a lot of these labs don't have any like larger commercial play in or plan in place, So I think we'll continue to see stuff that just continues to push the bar, released open source for as long as you know, those labs remain operating for educational purposes
I
only, I think you're going to see it.
I am still waiting for the Flux video model that was teased on their website when they dropped the
We
image.
all are.
That's like where is the Flux video model? It
Yeah,
is
exactly.
it is the hero we both need and deserve, or at least I hope it is.
Yeah, I don't have any connects at BFL, unfortunately, but I'm also in the same boat. I'd love to know, like, how
Do
long do I have to wait?
are you kind of up to speed and aware on the stuff that Nvidia is coming out with on the hardware side that they like announced at CES?
Not enough. I know
Not
that
enough.
there's this little like um what was
The
it
little
called?
digits, the
The
digit.
Jensen what do you
The,
call it? The Jensen's, it starts with an O. I don't even remember the name of it. But it's like a tiny little like ML box that you could, it's basically like
Mhm.
the souped up NVIDIA ML version of a Raspberry Pi. And it was quite intriguing. The price tag seemed pretty cool, and the amount of VRAM that you get for it was pretty rad. But I don't know the practical application of it. I've not tried to train anything on them. I don't have one. So I yeah, I can't speak entirely to that degree. I don't know how fast the 5090 is either at generation. You know, we'll see pretty soon. I'd say within the next 30 to 40 days, we'll absolutely know what a 5090 can do in Comfy UI for sure. There's a handful of people
we
out there already on the pre-order list.
we will know. I know that I went and put my name on all of the notify me email things that I possibly could. And on the 30th, we're gonna try to beat the bots.
I'm ready.
We're ready. But damn, okay, so Kytra, tell the people, since we're kind of at the top of the hour here, um, tell the people where they can find you and what you are planning for the rest of the year, and yeah, just how they can keep up with you.
Sure. So you can find me mainly on Instagram is where I post all my creative stuff. I've tried other places, and we all know uh, TikTok just bit the dust. You can find me on Instagram, kytr.a. Uh, you can shoot me an email at any time at kytraselka@gmail.com. And you can also find me on Discord. On Discord, it's kytr.ai. So um, any of those places, hit me up. I still love Warp Fusion. I still turn it on about once every 2 months, run a video. I love it. So if you want to know where we came from and want to get real nostalgic, I'll even talk to you about that. So outside of that, my Civitai page is where I'll post anything that I train that I can post publicly. And yeah, as far as what's coming for me, I'm honestly, this is going to be a little bit off topic. I'm super enthralled with like this like Suno cover thing. So because I've been a musician, I've been a musician my whole life, right? And so I've got all kinds of 45-second pieces, 60-second pieces that'll never be full songs. And then something like Suno came along. So right now I'm really excited. The character you saw a moment ago named Suzume, they're my vocalist. They don't exist. So it's going to be like a cross-realm gorillas type thing. Instead of the whole band being fake, only half the band is fake. And so I'm going to be putting myself into videos with Suzume and making music and posting it on Instagram. That's really where my heart's at creative at the moment. I'm excited to kind of bring both generative AI from a video sense and generative AI from the music sense and really create a full presentation with it. I think it's super sick.
Awesome. Well, if anyone can do it, it is definitely you. Um,
Pressure's on.
Kytra, I think that's all we got for today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know having you on was long overdue, and let's circle back maybe in like a month or 2 months, and you and I will plan ahead of time, and we'll actually make something on stream. That's something this year that I've already been doing that with more of the creators I bring on. Well, one, I want people to get to know you and what you've done and all that good stuff. But I do want to start doing more streams with all of hyper talented peers in this wonderful little niche of ours, where we build stuff together and find the interesting ways to blend what we do in front of everyone, so they can see what's possible with all this. Not saying that I am a benchmark of that, but I think it's really great for everyone to figure out how to take one thing and plug it into something that they might not have necessarily thought of in the first place. And that's how we get better. So we're going to circle back and we are going to make something.
I'd love to.
Next
Yeah,
time.
and I'm also trying to put together some behind the scenes stuff of the music videos as well. So hopefully I'll have some more things to show, like really how that process goes and what I'm doing in that case.
We got to figure out.
Can you show my screen one more time?
Yeah. We got to figure out how to get the green screen streaming live.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, feel free to screen cap me and warp me. I don't care. Just don't make me do anything dirty. And so I just want to give everyone this last chance to see Rem riding off into the sunset. There's so much you can ask for. Here's the prompt if anyone's interested. So
boom. Well, you guys got it here. What was there a hurdle installing Hunyan with what was it called, with Sage Attention, or am I
Sage Attention
else?
On Windows originally? Yes, there was a little bit of a hurdle. PERS has a guide to it on Notion that hit me up. I don't mind providing it to you. Or SDPA is actually it's supported now in the Hunyan video wrapper and everything. So it's just slower. But originally, Sage Attention was the thing that you had to have, and now SDPA will work. It's just a touch slower.
Gotcha. Well, guys,
thank you so much.
That is all we got for you today. This is Kytra. I dropped all of Kytra's links there in the chat. Go follow her on Instagram. Go follow her on Civitai, because if there's one thing that's for sure, she cannot stop making Lauras and all that kind of stuff. And she's always going to upload them and share them with you guys. So my name is Tyler, aka JBooks Creative. This is Kytra. Make sure you go follow her. This has been a Civitai guest creator session. Let me see. Next week, I think I had someone. Oh, right. Next week's. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. Well, I'll tell you guys who we got coming on. Boom. Okay, so on the 24th, we are going to be joined, but that's next Friday. We're going to be joined by Shrekman17, who currently on the Civitai leaders board is ranked number 1 for concept creators. He is ranked number 1 for concept creators, and he is going to come on and talk to us about something we probably don't talk about often enough, and that is training really, really dope, illustrious Lauras, because he has a grip of great ones. So that is what's happening next week, Friday on the 24th. That's all, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Make sure you check out our Chinese New Year cosmetics in the Civitai Cosmetic Shop. A lot of work went into making those things for you guys. So if you got the buzz, make sure to cop one. Kytra, thank you again. You are a legend.
Anytime. Appreciate it.
Boom. Hang out here with me for just a second. Guys, take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Make something cool. Tag us in it.